handed it over to a priest.
This is taking ages to go live, you know.
Slow internet, what can I say, mate?
Okay, shalom. Shalom, Israel, Mosai in Christ. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started at 125th Street, 1 West, Harlem, New York, under the command of Gen.YAHANNA, and we are affiliated and associated with no other Israelite group. This is the Wednesday night law class, regularly kept by Officer Dungabar. The announcement is that he's retired. He's retired from the law class, he's given it up. And I've jumped from the Tuesday night brotherhood class into the shoes of my peer, Officer Dungabar's Wednesday night law class. So we've got a lot going on in the school, Israel. Quick announcements. Monday night, we've got the history class with Captain Parashah. Tuesday night, we've got the brotherhood and sisterhood class with the Manchester contingency, Officer TITHES. Wednesday night, we've got the law class with me, Officer Oriala. Thursday, we've got the scripture breakdown class with Officer Karathia. Friday, again, it's the Manchester contingency. We've got the Lashawan Quadash from 7 till 9. All the classes are live, 7 till 9. Can be streamed on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So Friday night, we've got the Lashawan Quadash class live from Manchester, Officer Ra'aban. Then remember, we did have 4 live classes in the week. Now we've got 3 because the Tuesday night brotherhood class has been moved from the school at 394 Lodge Road, Hockley, Birmingham, to the Manchester, where it will be run live by the Manchester brothers, Officer Tazapawan and Officer Raban. Friday night, 9 to 11, we've got On the Ends, live from the school with Officer Dungabar and Officer Karathia. Then Saturday, we have the Saturday morning Sabbath service from the school, 394 Lodge Road, 10 till 11. And then from 12 till 5, we hit the concrete and we keep street camp every Saturday. Alternative weeks, Birmingham and London. So one Saturday we'll be in Birmingham City Centre, and the next Saturday we'll be in London Central, Piccadilly. Okay, that's what we've got going on in the school. They're the live classes. They're the Sabbath service and Sabbath class. Saturday street camp, On the Ends, our radio show, live, coming from you in the school. That is the I.S.U.P.K under the command of Gen.YAHANNA. Tonight's topic, Israel, is keep the law. Keep the law and don't be in a rush to marry. Now, what could that mean? A quick introduction. We know what the law is. The law is a record, our records, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, found in the first 5 books, the Torah, recorded by Moses and Aaron. Aaron, if you don't know out there, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, was Moses's brother. Through the lineage of their fathers, not their mothers. So Moses recorded the laws, and one of the laws covered marriage. Now, we know marriage today in the world of Esau and the Christian church as a ceremony where you get a certificate, you go to church, you pay money, you have a marriage, you marry the woman you've been courting. You might not have been courting her. I know a lot of people go to Vegas, meet a girl, and marry her the same night. Okay, so that happens in Esau's world. That happens regular in Esau's world. But it doesn't happen in Israel. It never has, and it never will. Not the real Israel, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, God's chosen people. Because this is what we teach at the I.S.U.P.K. You blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you're God's chosen people. And we are ordained to keep these laws through the Most High God, who gave them to the prophet Moses to teach us, and they would be passed on throughout our generations forever. We was a wicked people and we broke these laws, and we ended up in the state that we're in today, under all the curses of the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. So we're going to have a look at these marital laws tonight. If you don't mind, other one, if you could jump and get me Deuteronomy 22 and 13. We'll kickstart it with Deuteronomy 22 and 13. So the marital laws, okay. One thing we need to remember, Israel, yeah, we are not, once you walk through these doors and you're in the I.S.U.P.K under the command of Gen.YAHANNA, we are trying to teach our brothers, our sisters, to shed their worldly tendencies, which are wicked, according to the Bible and according to the law, the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. Your worldly tendencies, no matter how great, no matter how righteous, no matter how good you think you are, when you learn this real truth in the Bible, you will realize how wicked you've been living your life outside of these laws. Okay, so when we say keep the law and don't be in a rush to marry, what we're talking about is sexual relations, because if you didn't know, according to the law that Moses gave the Israelites, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the law states that the definition of marriage is sex. So once you go into that room and lay down with a woman, whether you've just met her or whether you've been courting her, you are married to her. The Bible says once you have sexual relations with a woman or your partner, and you've never had sexual relations with that woman before, you become married and bonded to her for life. And according to the Bible, there is no such thing as divorce in Israel. This isn't the Christian church where you can get married today and divorce tomorrow. You can get married in a rush and decide that your wife wasn't the cook you thought she was. She didn't have, her feet weren't as pretty as her face. She doesn't keep the house how you expected her to. She's too flirty for your liking. And this is why, going off the Bible, and when we're teaching new young men and new young sisters, brothers and sisters that come into the school, that we have a protocol at I.S.U.P.K, and no, it is not biblical, but we get this protocol from the Bible and from the laws. It is never a good idea to rush marriage or to rush sex, Israel. It's never a good idea. But what is a good idea is to take your time and know that you have got a virtuous woman, a righteous sister, a sister that is going to run the route with you and go the full distance. We're not saying a sister has to be the full 9 yards. We're not saying a brother has to be the full package. What we are saying is, don't be in a rush to have sex. Don't be in a rush to get married, because when you're in this truth, if you rush it, once you have sex with a woman, you are bonded with her for the rest of your days. And divorce is illegal in Israel. You cannot put a woman away unless the only legal divorce in Israel, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, is if the woman commits adultery, if the man commits adultery. And we're going to have a look at both, because both adulteries are separate issues and separate laws. A woman's adultery is not the same as a man's adultery according to the Bible. Okay, so if a woman commits adultery, she could just go and sleep with another man. That is adultery according to the Bible. For a man to commit an adultery, he must be lusting or sleeping or trying to sleep with another woman that is already taken, that is already married, already has a husband. This is adultery for a man according to the Bible and the law that we was given through Moses. So we should take time to know that she's the right woman first, from a brother's point of view. Sisters should do the same. Okay? Sisters should do the same. And yeah, so we take time to know that she's right, she's righteous, she's virtuous, or you will pay for your evilness, for your own adultery, if that's what you're committing, for your own lust, for your own wickedness, for your own evilness. It's always a good idea. And I'll tell you what, let's have a look at I.S.U.P.K protocol, just to give you an idea of how we do it in the home of the truth. Okay, so part of our protocol says in our announcements, after 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest, now that is after 6 months. Okay, so you've been in the school for 6 months and you have an interest in a particular person, a sister, for example. Okay, after 6 months, if a brother and sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head. In this case, in our case, in this school, our head is Captain Parashio. So a brother who's been in here for 6 months would approach Captain Parashio, pull him to one side. He would do it discreetly, privately. He wouldn't try and embarrass or spot the sister out in any way, shape, or form. And you would say to the head of your school, there's a sister in here I like. Now, you might have told the sister that you like her, you might not have, but you still have to, this is protocol, you still have to go to the head of your school and ask for permission to speak to the brother or sister. Okay, in this case, it's a brother who likes one of the sisters. She might be a maiden, a young sister, but if she's in the I.S.U.P.K, she'll be in the truth and she'll be a virtuous woman. You can bet your bottom dollar on that, Israel, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay, and just to finish off the protocol, once you get permission from the head of your school to court that sister, there is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Now, does everybody understand that? So you would, in layman's terms, you'd be in the school for a year. And after 6 months, you would start talking to the sister after getting permission from the head of your school. Then you would court her for 6 months. Now, if you're not in the school and you meet a sister outside of the school, this protocol doesn't count, but it's there as a format for you to be correct in how you approach a sister, to be righteous in how you approach a sister. So the advisory of the school would always be to use this protocol in or out of the school. But certainly once you walk through them doors and you're in the school, you follow this protocol. Okay, you follow this protocol. Let's have a look at the laws now. Let's get that Deuteronomy 22:13. Shalom, Hadassah Benjamin. Shalom, Ira. Have we not got Hakayan back yet?
After I read this, I'll give you a follow-up.
God.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 13. If any man take a wife.
If any man take a woman, take a wife, take a sister, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, not a sister from outside of our nations, read.
You got a problem.
Outside of our nation, read.
And going unto her and hate her and give occasions of speech against her and bring up an evil name upon her.
And do what?
Bring up an evil name upon her.
So already, can you see why we've got this protocol in place in the school? You're gonna find yourself a woman. You don't know whether she's virtuous, righteous, a maiden. You don't know anything about this woman, and you're gonna jump in bed with her. Can you see the dilemma you're causing already? Can you see that? You've met a woman and you're going to sleep with her straight away. It's a no-go according to the scriptures. You don't need to be doing that. You're causing yourself problems already. What do you know about this sister? What do you know about the brother? Okay. If the brother's in the truth and in the I.S.U.P.K, the sister's got nothing to worry about. But if the sister's not in the I.S.U.P.K, if she's not in the home of the truth, that brother should not be sleeping with that sister straight away, should not be performing marriage with that sister straight away. This is just protocol. And we get our protocol from the advisory of the scriptures of the law. We know it is irresponsible to meet a woman and marry her straight away. We encourage to keep the law. Don't be in a rush to marry Israel, you blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians. Is he in?
Con.
Shalom, Banyamyan.
Shalom, sir.
Yo, Bashim, Yo, Shabrakatah. Can you hear me all right?
Con, sir.
Okay, so you're in. You're in. Can you get me Deuteronomy 22 and 13, King?
Con, sir.
Yeah, so we don't rush these things. We take time, we get to know, and we stick to the protocol. Remember, this is the home of the truth, the I.S.U.P.K, under the command of GEN.YAHANNA. We haven't got protocol for the hell of it. We've got protocol for good reason, for good cause. This works. This works, Israel. This works. Just like the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments work. And outside of the law, we don't operate. We don't operate. Okay, so read that for me. Read that for me again, Banyamyan.
Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 13. If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her.
So if any man goes into a wife and takes her, so by taking her, you've had sex with her. She's your wife now, period. Do you understand that? She's your wife. If you've taken her, you've had sex with her. She's your wife. And then you realize you hate her. You see, you haven't kept the protocol. You've rushed and you realize this woman's not a virtuous woman, or whatever reason you have for hating her. Read on.
And give occasions of speech against her.
And you give occasions of speech. You're telling your brethren, this woman ain't for me. She's not who I thought she was. She doesn't keep the house as tidy as I expected she would. She doesn't do this, that. She can't cook like I thought she could. Read on.
And another one comes, sir. And bring up an evil name upon her.
And bring up an evil name upon her. You've got nothing good to say about this woman, but you were so quick to lay down with her and sleep with her and have sex with her. Now you're stuck with her. Now you're bonded with her for life. Read on.
And say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid.
So you found that she was not what you thought she was. This is a bit stronger, Israel, than not being able to cook, not keeping the house clean. She's not a maid, which is a young woman without man. Okay, you found her not to be a young woman without man. So she's, in one sense, this is a woman who's a whoremonger. She might be sleeping with your friend, with her boss at work. But you found way that she is not a maid. You found way that she's not right, and you want to try and get rid of her. Read on.
Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the token of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate.
Read that again from the top.
Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity.
Okay, so now the parents have got involved. You've been in a rush, you've married this woman without taking 6 months to court her. You've married this woman, you've rushed it, you've married her, you've had sex with her, now you're bonded with her for life. You realize the first 6 months of your marriage, there's something not right about this woman. She's sleeping with her boss at work. Or you suspect she is. You cannot prove it unless you prove that at council. But you've got your suspicions that this is not a virtuous woman. So her parents have got involved because you want a divorce now. You want to put this woman away. And remember, in Israel, we do not believe in divorce unless the woman commits adultery or unless she dies. That's the only way you can get rid of this woman after you've had sex with her. There's no divorce in Israel. No such thing.
So okay, if I could.
Go on, other one. You got something for us.
Also, with this, the reason you wait also is so you can vet that woman. Now, there's some women you speak to, and the more you speak to them, the more you realize, I don't ever want to be with her. Now, if you just have sex with her the first 5 minutes, you're stuck with this woman that's telling you, if I have a son and he wants to be gay, it's his choice. So if you wait, you can vet these women, and then you can be like, you know what? Based on how she talks, this is not someone I want to align myself with. Based on how she thinks, this is someone that I don't want to be marrying. So sometimes, usually with women, it's best to vet them and observe them, speak to them about different topics, and see how they think. See how they think, and then from that you will kind of know. Because what happens is some brothers marry women too quick, then they realize afterwards, I can't stand this woman. She parties too much.
That's right.
Whereas if you would have took 5 minutes to know her, you would know that she parties every weekend. Because every weekend you would speak to her, she'll say, I'm going to the club, and from there you could decide. Because when you do have sex with her and want to get rid of her, that's what she's going to say. Well, when you met me, I was like this. When you met me, I was like this. Whereas if you don't like her actions, that you can walk away freely. You can walk away freely knowing, yeah, this woman wasn't for me. And it's also brotherhood. Why? Because the next man she gets with, she don't have to add you to her body count, man. She don't have to explain to him, oh yeah, the last man I had sex with, it didn't work out. So there's also a brotherhood element as well. You know she's not right for you by speaking to her and knowing that it's not my type of woman. You then leave her for a next brother, man. And then that way she can be undefiled before she goes to the next brother.
Right.
The next brother doesn't have to hear about how she had sex with 10 other men who it didn't work out with. Whereas you could use wisdom and say, it's not going to work, let me leave her, it's not going to work.
And that is why we follow this protocol in the I.S.U.P.K under the command of Gen.YAHANNA. We've got this protocol for a reason, so we don't make these stumbling mistakes. Okay, so we don't marry the wrong woman, because once you marry that woman, you're bonded with her for life. Right. You might have children with her, you may not, but you are bonded with her. Banyamyan, where are we?
We have verse 16, sir.
I think we're at 17. I'm not sure where we at.
Verse 16, sir.
16. Read on.
And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her.
There we go. So the parents have got involved now. It's getting messy. Israel, it is getting messy, all because you didn't want to take time out to get to know this woman, all because you didn't want to take time to court this woman and find out what she was about in depth. All you was embracing was lust. All you wanted to do was dip. But we don't dip in Israel. We don't dip and bounce. If we dip in Israel, we stay. This is law. This is a law. Read on.
And lo, he has given occasion of speech against her, saying, I found thy daughter not a maid.
So he spoke to the father. They've liaised on this subject, on this matter. And he's telling the father, your daughter's not a maid. She's not a virtuous woman. She's not a woman without sex. She's doing this, this, and this. Maybe sleeping with Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's not on, and I don't want to know more. He's trying to put her away and explain to the father. Read on.
And yet, these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity.
These are the what?
Tokens of my daughter's virginity.
What are tokens, Banyamyan? These are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. What is the father answering the brother back? The brothers come to the father with these accusations. And the father's saying, these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. So the father's backing the woman, his daughter here, what is the Father saying here by these are the tokens? What are the tokens?
Cancer, the tokens are the back in those days would be the sheet of the marriage bed.
The proof.
The proof.
So the Father's coming with proof to back, because his daughter's in the background screaming, I've done nothing wrong. He just has seen a skirt that round the corner that he wants more than me. You see that? So what's happened is the Father's backing his daughter now, and with the tokens, like you said, is the proof. And what is the proof in this case? The bed sheets. Read on.
Canada one card. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city.
They'll do what?
They shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city.
Okay, so here we've got blood-stained sheets. Yeah? And sorry to be graphic, but orgasmic stains on the sheets and all kinds of bodily fluids, discharge, all mixed in on the sheet. This has had to be saved. It can't be washed or thrown away because it's the proof. This is how serious this is, Israel. And take note, this is what's going to either make or break the system. Because in these days, if the woman was found guilty of any wrongdoing or adultery, she'd be tied to a tree and stoned to death. Do you understand this? So this bed sheet that the Father's gathered as proof, as evidence to take before the elders, this cannot be washed or cleaned. This cannot be thrown away and disregarded. This is the very evidence that is going to save the man's daughter's life. Are we following this, Israel? You blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians, especially stuck up in the Christian church, because saving this sheet to you Christians would be disgusting. This would be the first thing in the church your pastor would tell you to get rid of. The evidence that's going to save the woman, who might be a virtuous woman. You see that? Read on.
Verse 18. And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him.
So the elders, after the proof's been brought to them, now the elders can prove this sister's a virtuous woman. She isn't a whoremonger. She isn't what the man is saying she is. He just wants to put her away for whatever reason. Okay, so now they're going to chastise him. What does chastise mean?
God, sir, punish him.
Rebuke in a not in a good way. Rebuke. He's going to be rebuked. He's going to be chastised, punished. Okay, read on.
Verse 19. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver.
And they shall do what?
Immerse him in 100 shekels of silver.
He's going to be fined. He's getting fined 100 shekels of silver. Have you got any idea, Adawan, what that would be nowadays? 100 shekels of 100 shekels of silver. That's a lot of money. That's the equivalent today of about 10 grand. Can you imagine? Probably the man's life savings in them days. Probably his life, and probably he might not even have 100 shekels of silver. He might not, but he's getting fined just because he couldn't keep the law. He couldn't keep protocol. He didn't have anything about him. He just wanted to jump in bed and marry this woman within a week of meeting her. And then he realized afterwards he'd made a mistake. And this is why we have protocol in the I.S.U.P.K under the command of General GEN.YAHANNA. It stops this nonsense from happening. But up in the Christian church, you'll meet a chick and marry her the same weekend, if you could. Who? You'll marry a chick the same weekend.
Shalom. Oh my days. Shalom.
Shalom, Up. Can you hear me, Up?
I can hear you, sir. Yeah, Khan, sir. Come on, Khan.
Yeah, we can hear you now, brother. You're in.
Can't.
Okay, and get me Proverbs 31 and 10, please, Ak.
Can't.
Okay, so read on, Banyamyan. Read on, King.
Come, sir. Because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel.
Because he has brought an evil name upon a virgin of Israel, a daughter of Zion, one of God's chosen people, one of his daughters, one of our sisters. And he's brought an evil name upon that. And that is against the law. Read that again. Read that piece again, please, Banyamyan.
Because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel.
Because he has brought up an evil name. What verse is that, King?
It's verse 19 in the middle, sir. Should I start again?
Yeah, so, and because he's brought an evil name, upon a virgin. Yeah, read on. Read that last piece.
And because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel, and she shall be his wife, he may not put her away all his days.
So here, the man that wanted to get rid, he couldn't court the woman for 6 months, not even 3 months, get to know her, know that he was making the right move by marrying this woman, realize that he doesn't want her, trying to put her away because he slept with her too quick, he married her too soon. Now he's been found in the wrong and chastised by the elders. He's been fined 100 shekels and he still has to take the sister back. It's still his wife, because Israel, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, once you sleep with that sister, she is your wife, and that is the law according to the Torah. That is your wife. So if you don't want to make these fundamental mistakes, then you don't sleep with that woman straight away. You use your common sense and use the law as a guideline to guide you correctly. And that's where we get our protocol from. Okay, finish that. Read verse 20 for me. But
if this thing be true, sir. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel.
Okay, so if the man's in the right, you see the flip side to the coin, other one. Here, if the man's in the right, how's it going down? Read on.
Verse 21, then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones, that she die.
We'll do what?
Stone her with stones, that she die.
Can you see how serious this is? This ain't no play, fun and games. This is people's lives. So when you marry a woman, when you sleep with a woman, you better get this right, Israel. You better know who you're marrying and who you're laying down with, because you're destroying lives. In these ancient days, if you slept with this woman and this woman wasn't virtuous and she was sleeping with her boss at work and she was going round the corner and sleeping with Tom, Dick and Harry, she'd be stoned to death. If you're taking her to council and she's found guilty, she'd be stoned to death. But if you was just being horny and just trying to get your piece dipped and wet, and then you realize you didn't want her a few weeks after that, a few months after that, then guess what? You're going to be fined 100 shekels. You still take it. You're going to be chastised and rebuked. You've still got to take the woman back. And that's why we've got this protocol in the I.S.U.P.K under the command of General Yohanna. That 6-month period, you must court the woman. This is not joke. This is no joke. It destroys lives. You guys being over horny, it just destroys lives. That's all it does. Courting has no time period. If you're not sure about a woman, you court her for 3 years if you have to. And to be honest, if you court a woman for a year, maybe 2 years, and you're still not sure about marrying her, then call it a day. What do you say, other one? Call it a day. If you're courting a woman for 2 years and you're still not sure about her, when You've got to be right before you lay down with this woman, because once you sleep with her, you're married. You're bonded with her. And if you realize after 2 weeks, after marrying a woman, that she's not the woman for you, you're destroying lives. And you're bringing dishonor to the woman's parents and to her family and to your own name. Salakia, everybody still in? I think we went off for a second. Okay, so where are we at, Banyamyan?
Come, sir, we're at verse 21 in the middle. I can finish the verse, sir.
Yeah. Khan, finish that verse for me, please, King.
Because she hath wrought folly in Israel.
Because she has brought what?
Folly in Israel.
This woman's getting stoned to death. Why? Because she has brought disgrace to Israel. She has brought folly on her family, on her father's name. She has brought disgrace and dishonor. She's getting tied to a tree and stoned to death. We've got to know what we're doing and understand the law when we're sleeping with these women, and stop creating whoremongers out of our one another. Stop making whoremongers out of our women, and stop making damn whoremongers out of ourselves. You brothers, you young brothers. Yeah, read on.
To play the whore in her father's house.
To do what?
Play the whore in her father's house.
There you go. To play the whore in her father's house. Read on.
So shalt thou put evil away from among you.
It's evil. It's evil to sleep with it. It might not be evil to sleep with a woman after 2 months. Yeah, but it's evil to sleep with a woman after 2 months and then try and put her away and think that she can't cook how I thought she would. She wouldn't keep the house how I thought she would. She doesn't look after business how I thought she would. That's evil right here. That's evil. This is a law. This is in the book of Deuteronomy. Okay, so you can save all this heartache and anguish by doing the right thing. And the right thing is taking your time, slow down, putting the brakes on. You understand this? Putting the brakes on. Just quickly flip through verse 22, because if you sleep with a married woman as well, this is more dishonor. This is something you'll find in the Christian church on a daily basis. If you sleep with a married woman, and the woman, you know she's married, she knows she's married, guess what? You're not being chastised or fined 100 shekels of silver. She's not being tied to a tree and stoned to death, certainly not by herself. You're both being put to death. Read verse 22 for me, Banyamyan.
Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 22. If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband.
If what?
If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband.
Read on.
Then they shall both of them die.
They what?
Then they shall both of them die.
There you go. It's a done deal. Draw the curtains. It's over. You better slow down, Israel. You better slow down and take your time. You meet a model Monday and you want to whisk her off to Vegas at the weekend and have a quick marriage because you think you've got TT. You think you've got 10 out of 10. But let me tell you, beauty goes way beyond skin surface, skin deep. Do you understand that? You've got to check that woman out. And you court her for at least 6 months before you make a conscious and righteous decision. Before you decide whether you're going to marry this woman. There's no sense in rushing this. Don't be in a rush to get married. Court the woman, get to know her. Hakan, you got Proverbs?
Proverbs 31 verse 10.
Okay, so courting has no time period. So make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure she's a virtuous woman. You see that? Let me catch up with you, Akayan, and then we'll go. What is it? Proverbs 31.
Quran, verse 10.
Yeah, read that for me, please, Baba Kashar.
All right. Who can find a virtuous woman?
Who can what?
Find a virtuous woman.
Who can find a virtuous woman? You don't, if the first day you meet a woman, you don't know whether she's virtuous.
That's true.
You see that? So that's why we've got this protocol in the I.S.U.P.K of 6 months. You need at least 6 months to court and date a woman to know whether she's virtuous or not.
That's right.
You need at least 6 months to get to know the ins and outs, what type of family she comes from, what her background is, what her belief system is, how she moves, You know, some of them girls, they just move bouquet, and you know they're not right. You might not see that in the first couple of weeks. You need some time to know how this woman moves, how this sister moves. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
Quran, Proverbs 31, verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman?
Read on.
Quran, for her price is far above rubies.
For her price is far above rubies. You see this. You know, Proverbs, what a beautiful book Proverbs is, written by King Solomon. This is King Solomon's records, yeah? And he had 300 concubines and 700 wives. Do you believe that they were all virtuous? Well, he was wise. So the Israelites were certainly virtuous. Okay, he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. He didn't play with women. So King Solomon certainly had the know-how how to advise you about women. Okay, read that again for me, Baba Kashar.
Proverbs 31, verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies.
For her price is far above rubies. You can't play with this, and you can't put a time period on courting. We've got protocol in the school for a reason, but that's a guideline. If you need a year to know whether this woman is virtuous or not, take a year. If you need 2 years, take 2 years. Over and beyond that, you're going to have to go above me to get advice. Whether you keep courting a woman for 3 years, 4 years, that's not for me to advise you. You'd have to go above me. But I don't know. You take as long as you need. From our protocol, you know, that shows you what a righteous brother you are. If you're taking 18 months, a year, 2 years, and taking your time and not rushing this and not jumping into bed with the first model that comes around the corner or the first good-looking Israelite sister that you see in the club, then you're worthy. You're making yourself worthy as a brother, as a son of Israel. Do you understand that? So Banyamiam, get me Ephesians 5 and 33, and let's go into the law, Hakayan. Get me Genesis chapter 2. Genesis 2 and 18, Hakayan. Give me Ephesians 5 and 33. Banyamiam, give me that Ephesians first.
Canada one cancer. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 33. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself.
Hold on. Slow down. So this is the Apostle Paul. This is the Apostle Paul's record. Yeah, this is the Apostle Paul's, and he's making sure, he's saying, make sure what this precept is really touching on and going in is Paul iterating to the Ephesians in that time, yeah, that to make sure that the woman you choose is the right woman. It's exactly on topic what we're talking about. This is what Paul's touching on here, the Apostle Paul. Okay, He wants you to take time, not to rush and jump into bed, you know, so that you know you love her. And you've got to love her like you love yourself. If you don't love your wife like how you love yourself, you would not defend your wife. Your job is to defend your family with your life. You see that, sir? You see that, other one?
Oh.
You're supposed to defend your... If you're a righteous brother, you will defend your family with your wife. You will defend your family with your life. Is your wife a part of your family?
Can't, sir.
Can't. Your wife's a part of your family. She's your next line. Yeah, if you're not willing to die for your wife, you've got no business marrying her. You see that? You got no business marrying her if you're not prepared to die for this woman. This is what Paul's touching on here. Read that again from the top.
Can't, sir. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 33. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife even as himself.
Read on.
And the wife see that she reverence her husband.
Okay, so make sure you love your wife as you love yourself. Make sure you love your wife as you love yourself, so that she will reverence you, her husband. Okay? Have you got a dictionary for reverence? Read that out for me. Hold that 1 second, Trooper Banyamyan. Just hold that 1 second. We're just going to get a definition of reverence so the audience gets the correct understanding of what the Apostle Paul's talking about here. Nice and loud, please, other one.
Reverence out of the Oxford Dictionary. Deep respect for someone or something. Then the verb is regard or treat with deep respect.
So how can your wife respect you if you're not prepared to die for her? How is she going to have reverence for her husband? She's got a husband that would throw her under the bus. That is a marriage made from hell. That is a conditioning you don't want to be in, Israel.
And if we put also as well, if you're a woman, don't marry a man that you're not going to respect, man. If you ain't going to respect that man,
That's right.
You can't marry a man and then say, "Oh, I don't respect him because of this, because of
Right.
that." You have sex with him, man.
Right.
If you don't respect him, you don't marry him either, man. So okay, go ahead.
Right.
And it's true. It's true. It's true. So this is what Paul's talking about here in Ephesians 5 and 33. Okay. Make sure she's the right woman so you can love her how you love yourself. If you're Hakayan and Banyamyan, if your life was in danger, would you defend yourself? Would you protect yourself?
Can't. No, I can't.
There you go. So what right do we have marrying a woman that we wouldn't defend or protect her to the death?
True. Can't.
We don't have no right marrying that woman. She's not the woman for us. Okay, so when you know, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, that you have met a woman and you've been around her for 6 months, a year, courting her, and you know, I would die for this woman, that's a sign to marry her. That is the sign. That's all the sign you need. When you realize and say to yourself, you wake up one day and you get out of bed and you're washing your face and you say, you know what? I would die for Sarah. I would die. I would die for her. I would die for that woman. I would die for Jennifer.
Salakia, sir, if I may.
Yeah. Go ahead.
In the scriptures, it talks about one loved and one hated, if I could. And you were talking about like if you don't love this woman, you should not marry her. But Jacob married Rachel and Leah, and one was loved and one was hated.
Khan, yeah, you're right. But what you've got to understand is it's not so much he preferred one to the other, correct?
Khan.
He preferred one more than the other. I don't want to go too off topic, but
All right.
Do you want to answer? Do you want to answer him?
Oh yeah, well, it's with Jacob. Obviously, Jacob married both of the sisters, but he preferred one to the other. Like, obviously, if you got a rib, you might prefer the way how one does something compared to the other. But nevertheless, Jacob stayed with both of them. He didn't put them away. He stayed with both of them.
And remember, he waited 7 years.
Mhm.
He waited 7 years, Hakayan, for the one that he preferred. He waited 7 years for her.
Not me, sir.
So when he says he preferred one, it doesn't mean he couldn't stand the other one. It doesn't mean that. But even if he stayed with both of them, so let's say you might have a rib that puts you on child support, she's still your rib.
She's still your rib.
That could be the one that would be hated. But
They-
as long as you don't have sex with the next man, she's still your rib. And then there could be one that does everything you say. That's the one you're gonna love. But then the one that disobeys you every order, that's the one you're gonna hate. But based off the love and hate emotion, you can't put none of them away. So okay.
Go on, Hakayan.
Salakia, sir. I understood fully, but then the one that's hated, yeah, are you gonna die for the one that hated?
You're married to her, Hakayan. He's married. He's married to her. He has to. He has to. Do not lay down and sleep with a woman if you're not prepared to die for her. That's the moral of the story.
Right.
That's what Paul's really touching on here.
Right.
If you're prepared to defend yourself and die for yourself, you should be prepared to die for your family. You should be prepared to die for your children, your wife. Your wife is a part of your family, which means she's a part of you. Now, Jacob knew when he slept with the first sister what he was doing. He had already established a covenant with the Most High God. So even though he didn't love this woman as much as the sister, he knew that he might have to die for her one day. Jacob was under no illusions. Jacob knew how to keep the law and the marital laws in this case. And that's what the Apostle Paul's talking about here in Ephesians. He's talking about love your woman to the point where she respects you to the utmost. And how do you do that? By coming correct, treating the woman how you treat yourself. Does that answer your question, Hakan?
Khan.
Okay, so give me Genesis 2:18. Let's have a look at what's ordained and what's not ordained. Because anything that's ordained is an order. And what is an order in the Torah? Can you tell me what an order is, Hakayan?
Yeah, commandment, law.
Yeah, it's a law. Well done. Thank you. The order. Anything that's ordained in the Torah is an order, which is a law. So give me that Hakayan, Baba Kashar, 2:18.
Genesis 2:18. And the Lord said, it is not good that a man should be alone.
And the Lord said what?
It is not good for a man to be alone.
So marriage here, in a nutshell, marriage here is a law. We was not born to be islands. The Most High God gave Adam the first marriage. Now we're not saying this precept is not saying there was no sex outside of the Garden of Eden where Adam and Eve resided. In the wilderness, there was plenty of sex. They just didn't know they was married because they had no law or no covenant with the Most High God. They had no contract or covenant. Adam was given laws by the Most High God, stipulations, and he was given a woman to marry, to take, and that means to have sex with. So Adam and Eve, in effect, was the first ever marriage that this life ever knew, and it was ordained. Read that again, Hakan, from the top.
Genesis 2:18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that a man should be alone.
It is not good that a man should be alone. Read on.
Quran Khan, I will make him a helpmeet for him.
So he gave Adam a help. You see that? He gave Adam a help. And what was that help? He gave him a wife. He gave Adam a wife, a partner, a lifelong partner. That's what the Most High God did here. He ordained marriage through Adam, the Alpha, the first. This is a law. So marriage is a law. You know, we're not supposed to be alone. We should be getting married. But we shouldn't be rushing and jumping into bed with the first model that busts the corner, or the first good-looking sister we see in the club.
Right.
We shouldn't be doing it. Okay? Read that one more time. Get me Matthew 19 and 9, please. Baba Kashar, Banyamyan. Read that again for me.
Genesis
Akayan,
2:18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that a man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet. I will make him a helpmeet.
Okay, so yes, your wife is a helpmeet. She is a helper. She's not your equal, like you learn up in the Christian church. That's folly and that's nonsense. And we're going to go in on you Christians in a minute. We're not leaving you alone, yeah, because you're teaching our people a bag of nonsense, especially when it comes to the laws of marriage. You pastors, you're far from innocent. And Hakayan, this is telling us right here that marriage is a law. You know, if you're in this truth, if you're in the I.S.U.P.K under the command of GEN.YAHANNA, the home of the truth, you should be looking a virtuous wife. You should be looking for that family unit. You shouldn't be living alone, because that's not what the Most High ordained for Adam, and it's not what he ordained for us. Remember, the laws never changed. Just because what happens when you in the Christian church and you're taught the Bible, the basic fundamentals in the Christian church is that the law changed with Moses because he wrote it down on tablets. It didn't change. Moses was just the first man that recorded it. Then they'll teach you again the law changed when Jesus come along, because he died to break all that ancient law of Moses that Moses gave us. Now you can do what you want. You can get married on Monday and divorced on Friday because Jesus died to lift that sin. It's a bag of nonsense and it's not in the Bible. It's a bag of nonsense and it's not in the Bible. You got Matthew 19 and 9.
Sir.
We're going to have a look at these foolish people that are learning in the Christian church under our devil pastors, because in the Christian church, all we can see is people getting divorced willy-nilly, left, right, and middle. It's happening every week. But in our nation never ever got divorced. In the days of old, we wasn't allowed to divorce. Like we've touched on earlier, the only way you can divorce your wife is if she commits adultery or dies. That's the only way you can put your wife away. What we call today divorce was commonly known in the modern world as divorce. Putting your wife away, as the Bible calls it. Okay? The only way a woman can put her husband away is if he commits adultery. And that adultery is different to the woman's adultery, because a man commits adultery when he sleeps with a woman that's already married. Or if he dies. That's the only way. And if your husband dies, that woman would not go out whoring in the streets or in the club looking for another husband. What would she do, Hakayan?
Salakia, sir. Sorry, could you repeat that?
If a woman's husband dies in the truth, what would she do? Who would she marry?
Anyone she
would
wants.
She go to the club and be allowed to look for another husband?
No, is it not? She'd go with the brother.
She goes with the next brother in line. He would be ordained to marry her.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd keep it in-house and she would stay virtuous.
Right.
Does everybody understand that?
Can't.
So, Hakayan, get me 1 Corinthians 7 and 1 and just hold it. We're going to have a look at Matthew 9 and 19. Salakia Chupa Banyamyan.
Concert.
Have you got that?
Another one, concert.
Okay, let me catch up with you, King. Okay, so what is it? Matthew 19 and 9. Yeah,
Verse.
yeah. So
Concert.
read that when you're ready. Read that when you're ready, Trooper.
Concert. The book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse
And
9.
just hold it just before you start. Okay, so for you Christians, this is red writing. This is not only New Testament. This is our Lord and Savior, our King, Jesus the Christ. Hamashiach Yahushai in the Hebrew. This is him speaking. So according to you Christians, you believe in this. Read.
And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife.
Whosoever what?
Put away his wife.
Whosoever shall divorce his wife, read.
Except it be for fornication.
If it's for fornication, if it's for adultery, so be it. If it's not for fornication, whoa, read.
And shall marry another.
And shall marry another, go to the club and pick up another woman. Go round the corner, go to the shebeen and find whoever you want. Read on.
Committed adultery.
Committeth what?
Adultery.
Read on.
And whoso marrieth her, which is put away, doth commit adultery.
This is out of Christ's mouth. I don't know what you guys think you're learning up in the Christian church, you blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians. But according to Christ, it's nonsense and rubbish. And it's not what he taught. It's not what Christ taught. But you're sat up in the church, banging a tambourine, singing hallelujah, holding everybody's hand, saying Christ is coming back to save everybody. It's not in the Bible. It's not in the Bible. We're going to read that again. But just remember what Christ taught. Divorce is against the law. The law never changed. This is the same thing that Moses taught. Divorce in Israel is against the law. It's not allowed. You can't put away your wife and you can't marry a woman that is being put away. For she is still married. Do you understand that? Do you understand? You've got this. You've got this other one, ain't you? You've got this. Yeah. So you can't marry a woman that a man's put away because he didn't have a reason to put her away. She's still married to that man. You're committing adultery. Read that again from the top, Baba Kashar.
Canada one concert. Book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 9. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committed adultery.
So if you put away your wife and it's not for fornication, and then you go around the corner and marry another woman who's separated but married, you're committing adultery. You are committing adultery, punishable by death. All you're bringing about is misery, death, and destruction, and dishonor on your own family name and your wife's family name. And guess who else? The adulterous woman that you're sleeping with, you've left your wife to be with. 3 family names you're destroying completely. It's madness, and it doesn't happen in our nation, not amongst the righteous men and not amongst the virtuous women, not in the I.S.U.P.K under the command of Gen.YAHANNA. You cannot find this nonsense. But where can you find it? Up in that Christian church.
God, sir.
And no doubt in that Islamic mosque. And no doubt in them ridiculous Rastafarian doctrine. You could marry and divorce 10 times. You can have 10 wives and 10 divorces in these religions, but not here in the home of the truth. It's not going to happen because we've got protocol and we've got the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. And that's what we'll stick to because our women are virtuous and our brothers are righteous. You see that? Okay, and did you get 1 Corinthians 7?
Kadwan Khan.
Okay, hold on. Let me catch up with you, Hakayan.
Khan,
Salakia. Let me just catch up with you.
Khan.
1 Corinthians chapter 7. Yeah, read that when you're ready, Hakayan.
1 Corinthians 7 verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me.
Okay, so here we've got the Apostle Paul. He's writing to one of the largest cities in ancient Greece, Corinthia. So these are Corinthians, these are Israelites. These are Israelites, Israelite Greeks. Okay, if there is such a thing. These are Israelites living in ancient Macedonia, in a city called Corinthia. These are the Corinthians. This is a letter Paul wrote to these Israelites. Okay, read that again from the top, Baba Kashar.
Khan. 1 Corinthians 7 verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
Oh, hold on. It is what?
Good for a man not to touch a woman.
So this isn't talking about rape. This is talking about our protocol. It is good for a man not to touch a woman. Don't be in a rush to have sex. Don't be in a rush to get married, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Don't be in a rush. Where do you think Paul got this from? The Apostle Paul taught everything he learned from Christ. Christ taught the law, statutes, and commandments, the 613 laws scribed on tables with chalk by the prophet Moses. So here's the law being passed down through generations, and the law's never changed. And here's the Apostle Paul writing to the Corinthians, giving them the advice that he's got from the law. Not to touch, not to be in a rush to touch a woman. Read that again, Baba Kashar Hakayan.
Khan, 1 Corinthians 7 verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
It is good for a man not to touch a woman. But what? Read on.
Verse 2. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication.
To do what?
To avoid fornication.
To avoid lies, antagonism, adultery, all this nonsense that we apply, that comes about through fornication. Read on.
Let every man have his own wife.
Let every man have his own wife. Stay the hell away from adultery. And stay away from adulterists. Read on.
And let every woman have her own husband.
And let every woman have her own husband. That is a virtuous woman. Don't be in a rush to sleep with Tom, Dick, and Harry. Salakia. Don't be in a rush to sleep with every girl you come across. Don't be in a rush to sleep with even one girl just because she looks good. You can see the dilemma and the problems you're bringing about by not slowing down and putting the brakes on. Read on. Let's go back in the law. Banyamyan, can you get me Exodus 22 and 16?
Can't, sir.
Hakayan, get me Genesis 24 and 16. Let's have a look at Isaac and Rebekah. How they treated marriage. Okay, so first we're going to go to Exodus 22 and 16.
Canada one count, sir.
Just hold it a sec. Let me catch up with you, King. Okay, get that for me. Exodus 22.
Canada one count. Exodus chapter 22 verse 16. And if a man entice a maid, that is not.
So what's a maid? Does anybody know what a maid is?
A woman, sir.
Yeah, but what kind of woman?
A worker servant.
Not in this case.
Because I would say a young lady of marriageable age, or like
Yeah, you're nearly there. You're touching on the right. You're in the right zone. A maid is a young woman that hasn't been married yet, so she's without sex, so to speak. Read on.
Con, a maid that is not betrothed.
Betroth. Okay. What does betroth mean?
Con, sir. Salakia, go ahead. Okay.
No, go. Sorry, Benjamin. Go through. Sorry. No, sir.
Con, it's a lady she's not being courted by someone.
She's not being courted and she's not engaged or promised to anyone. Okay, so what we've got here is a man. If a man's bussing some bars, bussing some lyrics on a young woman that's never been married before, and she's not promised to anybody. And remember, these are in the ancient days when we had these laws and we knew who we were. We wasn't under the captivity of the oppressor. Okay, we're given these laws by Moses, and we've come out of Egypt, so we're free at this moment in time when we're trying to apply these laws to our lives. Okay, so we was trying to keep these laws, and if you've got a young man bussing some lyrics on a young maid, a young woman who's not been promised or she's not engaged to marriage, yeah, then what? Read on.
And lie with her.
Okay, so you've decided you like this young maid that's not promised to anybody or not engaged. So you take her and lie with her. You go and marry her. You go and have sex with her. Read on.
He shall surely endow her to be his wife.
Then that's a done deal. Once you take her, she's your wife. This is what the Most High God told Moses. This is a law. It's a done deal. It's not open for negotiation. Do you understand this? This is a law. This is in the Torah. What is this? Exodus 22. This is a law. There's no getting out of this. If you take that woman and lie with her, then you're married to her. You're bonded with her for life. And this is why you shouldn't be in a rush to marry. Because you marry within the first few weeks of meeting a woman. You have sex with her. Then you realize down the road, this isn't what I thought it would be. This isn't as great as I thought it would be. The grass is never greener on the other side. Apart from the new kingdom we're waiting on. Read that again from the top.
Another one concept. Exodus 22 verse 16. If a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife.
Is that it?
Concept.
Okay, surely endow her to be his wife. You're bonded with her and there's no getting away. You can't put her away. You can't divorce. We've just read it's a law. You can't divorce her. We've just read that once you lay down with this woman, she's your wife. You're bonded with her for life. Okay, we're gonna have a look at Isaac and Rebecca. Okay, it's in Genesis 24. Is it, what verse is it? Oh, yeah. Hold on, no, we jumped to 67. It starts a bit earlier. Hakayan, have you got me, Hakayan? Can you hear me?
Genesis 24, yeah?
Yeah, start okay, let's take it from where the father of Isaac, Abraham, sends his best his best servant, his best maid out to look for a son for Isaac. Because some of you young men in Israel, some of you blacks, Hispanics and Native Indians, let's face it, when you're looking for a wife, you don't know what you're doing. It's true, other one. Do you agree with that? Some of these young black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, they don't know what they're doing when they're looking for a wife. So what happens if they're clueless? Before that, before they even marry, if these young men, these young Israelite men are clueless, what do you think should happen? The father gets involved. The father gets involved, but this is Genesis. This is a law book. So the father would get involved in these ancient days, and he'd go and find a wife for you if you couldn't go and find your own wife. Okay, who's got 24:16? Is that you, Hakayan?
Khan.
Okay, read that for me. Read
Genesis
that Bible chart.
16. And the damsel was very fair to look upon.
And the damsel was very fair to look upon. Read on.
Khan, a virgin. Neither had any man known her. And she went down.
So this is a young virgin, a young maid that's been chosen by Abraham's best maid servant. He sent her out to look. He sent her out to look for a potential wife for Isaac. Okay, so Isaac never in the beginning, Isaac never met Rebecca face to face. This was like a blind date. You understand? He never met Rebecca. A maiden, Abraham's favorite maiden, went out and found Isaac's wife, Rebecca. Read on.
Khan. And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said, let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher.
So the servant has seen this young maiden, this young virgin, and thought, wow, Isaac would like her. Let me get to know her for the sake of Isaac. She looks like a potential wife for Isaac. Okay, so now the servants approached Rebecca. Read on.
Khan. And the servant ran to meet her and said, let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. And she said, drink, my lord. And she hasted and let down her pitcher down upon her hand and gave him drink.
Okay, so this is, let me correct myself. This is a male servant of Abraham, not a female servant, but he's approached Rebecca on behalf of Isaac. He's looking for a potential wife for Isaac. Read on.
Khan. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for thy camels also until they have done drinking.
Read.
Khan. And she hasted and emptied her pitcher into the trough and ran again onto the well to draw water and drew for all his camels.
Okay, so the servant's gone out and she was praying. Rebecca was praying. She wasn't sure what to make of this. She might have even thought that the servant was chirping her for himself. But let's not forget who Rebecca was. Who was Rebecca? Does anybody know who Rebecca was?
Can't, sir.
Yeah, go on, Banyamin.
She was I think she was Laban's daughter.
Yeah, she was Laban's daughter. And who was Laban and his family? They were cousins.
Sir.
They were related. They were related to Abraham. They were related to Isaac. Okay, so later on here, we're going to find out that they were related. But let's jump down to verse 67, Akayan. Let's jump down to verse 67.
God. 67. Isaac.
And just hold on. This is definitive proof in verse 67 that sex is marriage, and it was lawful amongst you blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians. This is the beginning of the 12 tribes of Israel, because who was Isaac's son?
Counsel Jacob.
Who did Isaac begot as a son, as an heir?
Jacob, sir.
Jacob. And how many sons did Jacob have?
12, sir.
12. And apart from two of them, that was the two that were drafted in, Ephraim and Manasseh, who became the 12 tribes of Israel? The 12 loins of Jacob. So here you see the lineage. So this is right at the beginning of that covenant that was established between Abraham and the Most High God, which was passed to Isaac and the Most High God, which was passed to Jacob. It's that close together. Okay, and this is the laws of marriage. Sex constitutes marriage. Let's read it. Verse 67. Read, Hakayan.
Quran Khan. Genesis 24, verse 67. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife.
And she did what?
Became his wife.
So he took Rebekah. Took meaning having sex. Point blank and period. It's as simple as that. Sex is marriage. And you don't want to be rushing this thing. You want to be taking your time. You want to be taking your time. Read that again, Hakayan.
Quran Khan, Genesis 24, verse 67. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her.
And he loved her. So Isaac makes Rebekah his wife. He was, and don't forget, Isaac's mum's, in this time, what was Isaac's mum, Adawan?
Isaac's mum?
Yeah.
As in,
she was on a deathbed.
Isaac,
Isaac's mum was on a deathbed, and he's took Rebekah into his mum's tent to consummate Salakia, to consummate the marriage. Does everybody understand what's going on here? So Isaac's mum's dying, she dies, he marries Rebekah, and he gets comfort from Rebekah. Read that again, Hakayan.
Genesis 24, verse 67. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.
And why do you think Isaac was comforted after his mother's death?
Because he had a good wife. He had a good wife, a good woman.
He could give that a hand. Don't worry, Akayam, because you bang on the money there, because he had a good wife, which means Rebekah was virtuous. Isaac got a good one.
So like, yes, sir.
Go ahead, Akayam.
If I may, sir. So
hold on with your question 1 second there,
no, sir.
Because we're coming to the end of the class.
All right.
Banyam, no, hold it. I'm going to take your question. Banyamyan. Just get Deuteronomy 23 and 17 ready.
Sir.
And Hakayan, get Leviticus 18 and 1 prepped.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead with your question, Hakayan.
I've lost it now. Sorry, what is it? Leviticus what? Sorry.
18 and 1.
18 and 1. Salakia.
Yeah, Salakia King. Can you remember your question?
No, I can't remember it now. It's gone.
I bet you if you read verse 67 again, you'll remember it.
probably.
Go
18
on,
months.
read it again.
Can't. Where's it? Genesis 24, 67. Where's the question?
Salaki Hakan, I should have took the question as you had it in
No,
your head.
that's too up. No, sir, sir. No, sir.
Go on, read that, see if you can remember it.
Yeah, no, sir. No, sir. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death because he had a good wife. I forgot what I was going to say. Salakia, it's gone.
Is it gone?
Yeah.
Well, I think we know from here, from Isaac and Rebekah's marriage, that Isaac was a righteous man. When you read about Isaac, and he became a righteous man in the end, by the way, and Rebekah was a virtuous woman. Okay, Isaac got comfort because he's just lost his mom. He's just lost his mom, and God forbid Israel, anyone who's lost their mom, you know the pain. You know the pain and the agony of losing one of your parents. Is not the easiest thing to get over. You do need comfort. You do need to be around people that love you. But so where are we? Banyamyan.
God, sir, we are Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 17.
Okay, so here, this is another law. Yeah, read it and I'll break it down.
Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
There shall be what?
No whore of the daughters of Israel.
How do we stop the daughters of Israel becoming whores? How do we do that? By not chirping every chick and enticing every chick who turns the corner. Making our women, our sisters, gullible to your slick tongue. You see that other one? You know, stop taking a bit of responsibility, you blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians. This is how we behave up in the Christian church. This is not how we behave in Israel. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
God. Deuteronomy 23, verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
Read.
Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
Okay, so you will not entice a damsel or a sister, a daughter of Israel, to you won't chirp, so you won't sleep with her, especially if you don't want to marry her. Because if you're just sleeping with her for the sake of it, you're making a whore out of that woman. And the Most High God says here, this is a law. This is in the book of Deuteronomy. This is a law, class. This is a law. Israel, stop breaking these goddamn laws. Stop sleeping with women just because they've turned your head. Just because she's got a pretty face. Just because she's got a nice pair of legs. A cock-out batty. Stop it, Israel. Take some responsibility. Learn these laws and apply them to your life. Don't be in a rush to have sex. Don't be in a rush to get married. It doesn't always work, Israel. And we've got these laws for a reason. Okay? So you will not entice a woman or a sister of Israel to sleep with you and then go and sleep with her. And you will not make her your wife, because the law here is being broken. The law here, the marital law, is being broken. If you're just having a weekend fling with a girl and she's an Israelite woman, one of our beloved, a sister, a daughter of Israel, you're breaking the law. Don't do it. Don't do it. Come down to 394 Lodge Road, Hockley, Birmingham, into the I.S.U.P.K school, 1 West, under the command of General Yohanna, and learn these marital laws and learn how you should be treating our women and how to marry one of our sisters. Vice versa, the sisters, you should be thinking the same thing when you're looking a husband. Does everybody get this?
Cancer.
Okay, read on, because we're going to go in on these Christian pastors now, because they're turning our young women into whoremongers and they're turning our young men into faggots, into battyman. You see that? Read on.
Verse 18. Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore.
Thou shalt what?
Not bring the hire of a whore.
Read on.
Or the price of a dog.
Or the price of a dog. Our sisters are so much better, so much bigger than that. So much better. You are a chosen woman. You're from royal bloodline. What the hell? And you're allowing these men to turn you into whoremongers, have something up here and in here. How about that? How about that? Read on.
Into the house of the Lord thy God for any vow.
Read verse 18 from the top, Baba Kashar.
God. Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord thy God for any vow.
For any vow. Our vow with the Most High God is the law, statutes, and commandments. And when you're in the home of the truth and you're applying these laws, you have a vow with the Most High God. And to break that vow, you're a goddamn dog. Do you understand that, Israel? You blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians. You going out on a weekend fling, finding a sister, one of our sisters, sleeping with her, and then losing her, deleting her, blocking her on Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, blocking her on WhatsApp, never speaking to her again, and you've just done her dirty all weekend. Yeah? You're a dog. You're a goddamn low-down dog and a beast. Do you understand that? Read on.
For even both these are abomination unto the Lord thy God.
They are what?
Abomination unto the Lord thy God.
Okay, and repetitively, these laws are broken by the pastors whom entice our young women and our young men.
Answer.
They entice our young women and our young men every day up in that church. Okay? So don't marry the young maids. Don't be so quick to lay down with our sisters. And forget these other heathen nations. They don't even come into the equation. Okay? By doing this and breaking this law, you're turning our young sisters into whores. And these pastors that are laying with our young men, blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians up in that Christian church, you're turning our men into sodomites. Our young 16, 17-year-old men in your altars, in your congregation, and you're enticing them as well as our young women. They didn't know nothing about man laying with man until they met this goddamn pastor. Anyway, I'm not going to go off topic, but you can see, stay away from these women. Have a courting period. Don't be so quick to marry them. It's against the law. It is against the law. Okay, I think we got time. For one more precept. And we'll go through the breakdown of it. Okay, so the laws of sex, the laws of marriage in Leviticus 18. Have you got that, Hakayan?
Carl, Leviticus 18. Which verse are the ones? Salakia.
Yeah, hold on. What verse did I ask for? Was it we start. Hold on. Let me have a quick look. 1 second. Leviticus 18. Let's start from chapter 1. Okay, because these are the people, you Israelites, yeah. you Israelites learning these laws, statutes, and commandments, especially the laws that are on topic, the marital laws, these are the people you can marry, and these are the people you can't marry. Okay? There's certain people that are a no-no. You understand? There's certain people, there's certain women, certain men you cannot marry in Israel. It's forbidden. It's against the law. Okay, we're going to find out right now. Read that for me, Baba Kashar.
Leviticus 18, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt.
So after we've come out of slavery and we're given these laws, read.
Shall ye not do?
Shall ye what?
Not do.
These are the things you will not do, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And to stop doing these things, you better get your ass out of that Christian church. Read.
And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whether I bring you, shall you not do. Neither shall ye walk in their ordinances.
Neither shall you what?
Walk in their ordinances.
So these Canaanites and these Egyptians, these Africans, they had orders. They had their own laws. We were not allowed to walk in their ordinances, in their orders, in their commands, in their laws, in their legislation. We was to stay clear of their laws because it didn't apply to us. It was nonsense, like up in the Christian church. Read.
Ye shall do my judgments.
Whose judgments?
My judgments.
The Most High God's judgments. Read.
And keep my ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God.
Okay, and we're going to learn about some of these ordinances, and we're going to start with marital laws. Read on. Verse, is it 5 or 6? Read on.
Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord.
Read.
None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him.
None of you will marry those that are close to you, it being your kin, your family. Who is that? And we're going to read about it right now. Your mother, your sister, your daughter, your aunties. Come on, Israel. But there's a whole heap of these incestuous relations going on up in the Christian church. Whole heap of it going on and happening. Read, Hakayan.
To uncover their nakedness, I am the Lord. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover.
Okay, so you stay away from your mother. That's box standard. That is box standard. Even you devils in the world, surely you don't sleep with your mothers, although I know some of you Edomites do. Okay, some of you Hamites do. But guess what? In Israel, we don't. In the I.S.U.P.K, under the command of Gen.YAHANNA, we don't. Read.
She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's.
I can hold on. What verse you at?
8.
Yeah, start from 8 again. Salakia.
The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness.
Okay, so here, this is not your mother. Who is this talking about, Banyamyan? She's not even a blood relation. Who is this talking about? Banyamyan, can you hear me?
Salakia, sir, I was muted. That would be your stepmother
Your
or your father's
stepmom.
wife.
Give that a hand. Yeah, that's your stepmom. Okay, and read on.
Quran Khan. The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother.
Okay, so here, your sister, you cannot marry. You cannot marry your mother. You cannot marry your stepmom. And you cannot marry your sister. Read on.
Quran Khan. Whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover.
Read.
The nakedness of thy son's daughter.
Okay, this is your niece, for goodness sake. There's certain people in this world, Israel, we cannot marry that are close to kin. There's certain people you should not be even thinking about in this way. It's an abomination to the Most High God. It's unlawful. Read on, Hakayan.
Quran Khan. Or thy daughter's daughter, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover, for theirs is thine own nakedness.
Thy daughters, read that one again.
Quran Khan. The nakedness of thy son's daughter,
Your niece, read.
or thy daughter's daughter.
Your granddaughter, read on.
Quran Khan. Even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover.
Even their nakedness, you shouldn't be having sex or marrying certain people, Israel. It's forbidden. There's more. Read on.
Quran Khan. The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter.
The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, your step sister. You see that? Read that again, Hakayan.
Quran Khan. The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter.
And that is your stepsister. Is that not your stepsister, Adawan? Am I mistaken? Read that for Officer Dungabar.
Quran Khan. The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter.
That's your stepsister. That is your stepsister. She's not even blood related. But it's dishonoring. It's dishonoring the Most High's law to be sleeping or making marriage with her. How many of us learn this in the Christian church? Okay, Hake, and read on. Couple more verses and we're done.
Begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Sorry, the nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
So basically, if your father's got two wives.
Okay, Salakia, if your father's got two wives, that's not your stepsister. Go back and read that again, Hake, and one more time.
Quran Khan, the nakedness of thy son's daughter, or of thy daughter's daughter, even their nakedness.
Read on.
This right here, real quick. What we just read right there, that also stops child molestation in the black community, because it says you can't approach your son's daughter or your brother's daughter. What you'll find is most child molesters is usually an uncle or an auntie or a close family member. Now, if you follow the laws of God, that will get rid of all child molesters in the black community.
Right.
That will get rid of all of them. So people who hate the Bible, they agree with child molestation, man. If you disagree with it like we do, you would love the Bible. But most people hate the Bible because they agree with child molestation.
Okay, read that after your daughter's daughter, which is your granddaughter. Read that from your Baba Kashan.
Quran Khan, the nakedness of thy son's daughter.
What verse you at?
10.
Yeah, Khan. Read on.
Khan, the nakedness of thy son's daughter, or of thy daughter's daughter.
Your granddaughter, read.
Even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. For theirs is thine own nakedness.
Read on, verse 11.
Quran Khan, the nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter.
Okay, So here, this is your blood sister because it's your father's wife's daughter. This could be your father's second wife. You get that, Hakayan?
Khan.
So it's not necessarily a stepsister. This could be your actual sister. Read on.
Quran Khan, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
There you go, your sister. And you shall not uncover her nakedness. You will not have sex with her. You will not marry her. She is your close related kin. It's just a madness.
Well, it is, the reason it says your father's wife is because some people think, well, she didn't grow up in the house with me. It's my dad's other child, so we're not related. So as a man, you're thinking, you're just seeing her. Let's say you haven't seen her for 10 years, 15 years. You're seeing her developed, and you're thinking, well, this ain't my sister. It's my dad's other family. It's not my sister. So the Lord's letting you know this is still your sister. This woman's begotten of your father. Whether you grew up in the same house together, whether you didn't grow up in the same house together, you can't uncover her nakedness. So that's why it says that. Because if you know anything about you, usually if your father's got another wife or whatever, them kids probably live way out, and you probably don't see them until once a year or twice a year. Now, a man who don't follow the Bible, he'll think, yo, technically she's not my sister because I don't know her, I don't see her. He'll try and make moves on her. The Lord's saying you can't.
And where do we read about this happening mostly? Amongst these hillbillies. And what nation of people the hillbillies come from? That's right, Edomites. And we read about this and we see it on the news all the time. Regular, it's a regular thing. Read on, Akan. Akan, you're muted.
Salakia.
Yeah, read on.
The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Verse 12.
Read.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister.
Your auntie. You cannot marry your auntie, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Come out of the church, man. Get the hell out of that church and run for the hills. In fact, run for 394 Lodge Road. Because your own pastor will marry you to your auntie in that same church. As long as you've got £1,500 for the wedding ceremony, he will marry you to your auntie. You see that? Wicked as hell. Read on, Akan.
Right. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. She is thy father's near kinswoman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, for she is thy mother's near kinswoman.
Your auntie again, same thing, flip side. Read.
Quran Khan, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Thou shalt not approach to his wife. She is thy aunt.
There you go. And there's another aunt. Your father's brother's wife. We're gonna hold it up there, Hakayan, but you get the drift of it. We've got these laws for a reason, so we don't break the marital laws. That's in Leviticus chapter 18 for anybody who wants to go through it. Make sure it's the King James version. Okay, so what I'm gonna say to you is, what I'm gonna say to you is stop being in a rush. Okay, we know that who we're not supposed to marry, it's unlawful to marry. But the topic tonight was keep the law. Don't be in a rush to marry. And that consists of stop turning our sisters into whoremongers. And Israel, stop turning yourself, you young men, you young brothers of Israel, stop behaving like whoremongers when you're out there. Have some self-respect, and you get that self-respect by learning these marital laws and keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. And with that, I'm going to call the class. I'm going to hand the class over to Officer 5000, Officer Dungabar for the security announcements.
All right, clap it up first. All right, this is the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We have the I.S.U.P.K started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When the new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They have to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will call each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18 and 21. Also Malachi chapter 3 and 8 through 10. Ma'asheret, it means 10th in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory whatsoever amount you would like to give. We got a feast day September 15th, which is the Feast of Trumpets. Also after that, we also have the Day of Atonement. After that, we then have the Feast of Tabernacles in King James Castle. Look online, we have the dates, we have the flyers and all of those kind of things. So now, also check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a troop in the school, start wearing all black boot, shirt, pants, headbands, and scarf. With that, we're going to stand. We're going to give the teacher one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, I Majam. Majam Shabbat. I Majam. Barak. Yahweh
Yehovah Shim Yoshai Barakatam.
Yab Yam Matar. Class dismissed.
Shalom Israel.
Shalom.
Shalom,
Lord
sir.
Christ.
Shalom, okay, respect.
Shalom. Shalom. Brother.
Akyam and Akwath Yehovah Shim Yoshai Barakatawa. Yeho Shemai Ladaba Shim Yoshai.
Shalom, sir.
Lord Allah.